The Sims is a series that's very near and dear to me. Unfortunately, I don't have the highest opinion of The Sims 4 for a variety of reasons, but as a fan of farm sim games, I thought it would be fun to try the Cottage Living expansion. Before I can delve into this expansion, I first actually need to make some Sims to play with, so I decided to make Naomi and the Doctor from Story of Seasons Friends of Mineral Town. I'm not the best at making Sims, at least ones based on pre-existing characters, but I think I did well enough here. Cottage Living comes with a brand new town called Headford-on-Bagley. It's aesthetically inspired by the British countryside, which I enjoy a lot. What I don't enjoy, however, is how small the towns are in this game, and how customization is extremely limited, such as how you can't place your own lots into the world because of the way the towns are designed being very linear. But I'm getting ahead of myself with my complaints. After moving my farmer family into the only vacant lot, it was time to start building. Building buildings from scratch in The Sims is something else I'm not very good at, but I thought I'd give it a try anyways. I decided to loosely base the house off of the cottages in the GBA Mineral Town games because the designs are pretty basic and it's appropriate for the atmosphere. Luckily, once I got accustomed to things, the building tools were pretty helpful in my building endeavors. I especially liked the roofing tool, as roofs were always a particular pain for me. Well, besides making a house that doesn't look like an awkward box, but that's beside the point. Once I finished building a home that I deemed was good enough, it was time to start playing around with these Sims. The main feature that Cottage Living has to offer is the ability to raise farm animals. Each animal produces their own unique product that can be sold or used for cooking or crafting. They also have their own needs that can be seen by hovering the mouse pointer over them, as well as a friendship meter. In order to raise happy, healthy, and productive livestock, you'll need to make sure they're well fed, interacted with regularly, and make sure their homes are clean. Buying a chicken coop allows you to raise chickens and collect their eggs. You can house a maximum of 8 birds per coop, but you can also own as many coops as will fit into your property. Having at least one rooster will allow your hens to lay hatchable eggs, which will hatch into a chick after a short period of time. Chickens will eat whatever feed you leave outside for them, and will interact with your Sims and their coop mates. And while you can't eat your chickens, you can trade them for chicken meat, not unlike what you could do in Shepherd's Crossing 1. Animal sheds allow you to own cows and llamas, the latter of which we finally get to see properly after being a Maxis running gag for years. Unlike chickens, however, you can only own one cow or llama per shed. Cows will give you milk, which is perfect for making cheese.
Cheese.
Meanwhile, llamas produce wool that can be used with the new cross-stitch activity. Your Sims can also woohoo in the animal sheds, which I imagine is pretty gross and uncomfortable. Besides livestock animals, there's some new wild critters that have been added with this pack. You can become friends with them, including giving them gifts and receiving gifts in return. Foxes are little rascals that will harass your chickens and steal their eggs. However, if you befriend them, you can persuade them to leave your chickens alone. It should also be noted that these foxes are different than the fox dogs that came with the Cats and Dogs expansion. These foxes act more like actual foxes, as opposed to small dogs with a fox-looking skin. It's kind of funny and a bit confusing that we now have 2 different kinds of foxes in the game, but whatever. Flocks of wild birds can be found in specific hollowed out trees. Not only will becoming friends with them let your Sim become a Disney princess, but they can also help with your gardening by eating pesky bugs and singing to your crops to encourage growth. On a similar note, you also have wild rabbits, which will either dig themselves up out of the ground or could be found in tree stumps. Having them as friends means they'll eat the weeds in your garden, as well as provide some of their own, fertilizer for your plants. Going out to town provides more features. From the farmer's market, you can buy treats for your livestock, which will give them various effects. These include changing the color of a llama's wool and having your cow produce pumpkin spice milk. Visiting the reclusive creature keeper will allow you to buy silly clothes for your animals, which you can dress them in to make them look silly. And once a week, there's the agricultural fair, where you can enter your tickets and farm products to win prizes. So what's the overall verdict on Cottage Living? Well, it's a cute expansion. Very cute, in fact. But it also feels like certain features are unnecessarily limited. Tickets are free to go pretty much wherever they please, but for some reason, cows and llamas are semi-attached to their pens. You also can't breed your large livestock or enter them into the fair, and I really can't imagine why that limitation is there. And honestly, like a lot of DLC for The Sims, I find it hard to justify paying full price for what seems like not all that much content. Which gives me the perfect opportunity to gripe about the general Sims 4 experience, and why I think it just isn't worth what they're asking for. Because the word limited just about sums up my issues with The Sims 4, as well as their add-ons. Like I said earlier, I really don't like how small and linear the towns are in this game. I enjoyed having the freedom to customize my towns how I pleased in previous entries, as well as seeing other people's custom towns. And you really can't do that in The Sims 4, or at the very least not nearly as much as you could before. The thing is too, is that the game is very nice looking, but it doesn't take long to realize that it's all quite shallow. Hell, we don't even have vehicles for our Sims to drive or ride in, not even school buses for the kids. Sure, we see vehicles on the road being driven in the background, taunting us, but we can't actually use any of them. Another aspect I noticed was the lack of edge The Sims 4 had. Mind you, I'm not saying I want porn or graphic violence in The Sims, but it seems like The Sims 4 just barely earned its T rating. Just get rid of the woohoo features and have Sims reproduce by hugging and kissing like in The Sims 1, it would probably be rated E10. Again, I don't want The Sims to have GTA levels of edge, but I miss having some of the more risque content, like the sexy maid outfits in The Sims 2, or the cake dancers in The Sims 1. On a related note, I couldn't help but notice that the passion and romance between Sims seems to have been watered down as well. In The Sims 3 and 2, you could have two romantically involved Sims kiss and cuddle on the bed. They would even cuddle while they slept, which was very cute. In The Sims 4, it seems like romantic intimacy has been toned down significantly. Again, this is a T-rated game, and while I'm not saying you need to push the envelope, I think it's a shame that they're limiting romantic intimacy with The Sims. I can only imagine this is because they want to appeal to a more kid-friendly audience, while also not alienating their older fans by still keeping their T rating. I guess you could say that when it comes to pandering to a particular audience, it seems like EA's trying to have their cake and eat it too. And these are my opinions on The Sims 4 Cottage Living, as well as The Sims 4 as a whole, most of which are less than positive. Mind you, I'm not saying that the previous entries were perfect by any means. In particular, the nickel and diming on EA's part has been around since the release of The Sims 3, which had an online store and microtransactions from the get-go. And don't even get me started on the ridiculously priced worlds, or the questable stuff packs. But seems just so much more egregious in The Sims 4. I mean, really? $5 for immersive cleaning and vacuum cleaners? You're telling me they couldn't have put those things in one of their bigger expansions? I doubt that. You know, we still don't have pet parrots in The Sims 4 either. I'm surprised they didn't pull a My First Pet stuff with that, or make a parrot-based kit. I'm also not saying that there's nothing good about The Sims 4 either. I enjoyed the Sims sculpting and building tools. I also like that you can opt out of most features if you don't feel like playing with them. And in general, the game is pretty fun to play. But as for enjoyable as these additions can be, they're tied down by the limited nature of the base game. As I like to put it, The Sims 4 feels like one step forward and two really big steps back. Hopefully the upcoming Paralives and Life by You will bring some much-needed fresh air to the life sim genre. Even if they're not quote-unquote Sims killers, so long as they're at least decent games, it'll be nice to have a bit more variety. But I guess only time will tell. Thanks so much for watching! If you enjoyed the video, be sure to click like, and subscribe if you want to see more.